of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome to the final meeting of the STEAM Committee ourselves. Thank you for sticking it out and still being here. I think everybody knows everyone at the table. Dr. Delgado, Mrs. Agrusa, Dr. Bishop, then Matteson, I'm Colleen, Worden, Clint, Derringer, our president of the board. And just quickly, are there any people out there that would like to make public comments? All right, going once, going twice. Oh, go ahead.
Hello, I'm Renee Asst from Realpointe Park. Probably families are waiting to hear what the plan is, what the progress is on the architecture plan. We are hoping to hear some updates. We don't see anything on the agenda. Families are choosing other options because nothing's been done. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else want to make a public comment?
Well, I just would like to reiterate, I know that today is not a Trombley session, it's a really cool Parcells session, so I don't want to take up time for that. But at the end of April at the board meeting, it said it was going to be about 3 weeks for us to get some plans, and we haven't heard, and I've been kind of scouring the facilities to just see if anything had, popped up. So we are really interested to know. Building's empty, so it's like prime time. Months ago they said it was the best time to get pricing and all that, and because it's sitting empty. So if you could give us an update, we'd really appreciate it. And we'd also love to partner with you. I'd love to walk through the building. I think I have some cost saving measures, and I think that's always a good thing. All right, bye-bye.
Thank you. Anybody have any comments? Thank you for those comments. I do know that for the last 4 meetings, we have focused on the Parcells STEAM. That was the intention of this. That's what Dr. Bishop and Dr. Delgado planned for this. So I'm guessing at some point we're going to resume the regular facilities meeting.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Delgado and Dr. Bishop.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This is our 4th and final meeting. We made it. Good deal. So we do have an action-packed meeting for you today that we are going to get done in an hour. We'll turn it to Dr. Delgado, but I'm really impressed with the collaborative and what they have to be able to show to you today as it relates to our next steps. Because it's our final meeting, then we'll talk about our next steps, how we can make sure that we best support the students that are involved as much as possible. So, Dr. Delgado, feel free to take it away.
I'm actually going to turn it right over to the collaborative today. I know we have some review slides at the beginning in case we had any members not here, so if I need to hop up and review, I can, but take it away.
Yeah, thank you very much, Meyer and Sara. So, to dive right in, what we're going to be covering today, we hit the introduction of public participation. We're going to do a little bit of the recap of the process. I think we received a lot of good feedback the first 3 sessions. We want to make sure we highlight that. And really hit decisions that were made along the way that we'll hit as we go through slide 2. But really what we want to get to is the 3rd session, the planning and 3D fly-through. So last session we got the white box fly-through. This session Bree will walk us through. We are trying to limit it to 1 option for today. We still have 2 variations that we want to try to get resolution and have everyone in this room feel comfortable with leaving today. Bree will walk us through that, and that's in color, so it's going to be a little more exciting. We want to get to that and make sure we have plenty of time at the end. But throughout the process, in the last couple sessions, we've done kind of that think, pair, share, rather, mixing them all together, and doing like small group discussions and report outs. Today, we're trying to get consensus, so at any point along the line, if you have a question or a concern, please raise your hand and let's address that. That way, leaving this meeting, we have some good resolution, and we might do some show of hands to make sure we have consensus, things along that nature. So with that, I'm going to jump right into the process recap. So we're on the 4th meeting, as it's been hit earlier. We appreciate your time. Again, getting feedback like this is not something that every district does. So for Bree and I and us at the collaborative, it's exciting to see so many people come and show up and be a part of the process. So thank you very much. The objective of today's meeting is to get consensus. We will package that up, and that is the package that gets sent to the facilities committee and ultimately the board for approval and the okay to move forward on a design direction. As far as key takeaways, meeting 1 was a lot of introductory. We did the surveying. The key takeaways for us was that we wanted art in the STEM, so it's STEAM, not STEM. We wanted focus on the instructional space. So we know there are rooms that will be used for classrooms, dedicated space for teachers. There was concerns about the IT hub being shown in the space. So in future meetings, we looked at alternative locations, moving that out. And there was concerns about the technologies, particularly the esports integration. So that was something we came in as an idea. We strayed away from that based off feedback from this group. Meeting 2, we developed our floor plans a little more in depth. One specific item was that the 2-story option was preferred rather than a 1-story option. So that's why we continued into meeting 3 and what we have today. We were showing a computer lab, so still showing a little bit of tech. We received the feedback that that traditional computer lab was not needed or necessary in the STEAM classroom space, STEAM Commons. So we started to take that out in future meetings. We started getting feedback that the classrooms should be a hybrid model. So there's some that should be reservable for teachers that are outside elsewhere in the school, potentially also in the district. But there are dedicated classroom spaces as well that can support a dedicated staff member, i.e. the art classroom and one of the STEM rooms. But then there's still additional STEM or discovery learning zones that could be flexible and reservable. And last but not least, we identified a potential space for the IT hub, or sorry, I jumped ahead. We established that the robotics space was maintained in the North High School as a group. In the first meeting into the second, we talked about what that could look like if Parcells supported it, and this group ultimately agreed what's in North is adequate and serves the district as a whole better. Meeting 3, we got into a little more depth on the plan. There was discussion or a request for an immersive type lab space that we're calling the Discovery Learning Zone. So we're developing that a little further into this meeting. We have some options that we want to share and get feedback today. We identified the IT hub location could fit into the relocated art classroom as an easy the art classroom moved to the STEAM Commons. That was a vacated space that offered a great spot for that to live right next to the loading dock. So there's some security access flexibility there that we think is a good thing. We identified a blended option. So along the line, we've been talking about open collaboration versus dedicated classroom space. It seems we've been getting feedback pretty consistently that it really needs to be a blend and we need to hit the right balance of that. So that's something Bree and I will be showing tonight as well. And then we also hit on the last meeting, meeting number 3, about the after hours access. Being able to have the opportunity and flexibility to use both parking lots. And then the opportunity and flexibility to use the gym as well in an after hours situation and allowing the academic wing to be completely secure and closed off. So these are decisions we made along the way. We have a couple specific items that we're going to hit today. I have just floor plans if we need to go back and reference that we've been sharing as we've been developing. Nothing to hit, the exciting stuff is coming. Just to recap, we have the visual learning exercises. So we have these posted in our office. We have the notes. As we continue to design and develop finishes, look and feel, we will continue to reference back to these. So this is going to continue to be great feedback and input that was received. The survey data at the beginning, again, we have this as a guiding design. We call them the design mandates that we will continue to reference if and as needed. But ultimately, all of that has led us to where we are now, meeting 4, where we have some updates with planning and design. And before I hand it over to Bree, just to recap, Parcells, we have the pool space. We're looking at having access from both parking lots as mentioned. We talked about the relocated IT hub. So you have the 2 arrows on the bottom indicating potential after hours access. The arrow on the north, further north, would be the loading dock, potential access for IT personnel and staff next to that relocated IT hub. And then ultimately today, what we want to get out is we have 3 high-level things that we think we can look at individually to dictate the big plan picture. So first and foremost, we want to hit the plan configuration. So we're showing we know we want two stories. We've been showing a couple options and variations of how you enter and access the space and an opening to get some volume in the space. We want to get consensus with this group which version we want to go through. I know we've talked about it last week, and we received feedback it is valuable to continue to evaluate and study to show additional information in development of the plan, so we will do that. Item number 2 is the Discovery Learning Zone. So we have an option that's more of a immersive classroom and a system that could be installed, and we have a secondary option that we're calling a simplified version that utilizes some writable marker surface and still has some projection screens, but creates a unique learning environment for students. That part would be unique to Parcells. And then the final option is starting to talk through storage and makerspace flexibility and what the preference is from the community standpoint to offer input for the facilities committee and the school board. So with that, Bree's going to start talking through floor plans, but any of the recap and leading up to where we are, anything sound off base from where you're sitting, or any input or discussion this group wants to share ahead of seeing the updates? Okay.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, as Trey said, there's kind of 3 things that we're looking for maybe some consensus on today, or a bit of a direction on today. So the first one was really about the overall layout of the spaces and where that kind of opening down to the lower level wants to be. So you can see here we've got our focused learning option that we've very similar to what we've been showing in the past weeks, where there's that kind of center opening in the center of that first floor. And then we've got our collaborative exchange, what we're calling the collaborative exchange option, which is basically moving that opening to the plan west. I'm sorry, over to the plan west of the floor plan. So when we start to look at this really just as zones and not necessarily what's specifically happening, we wanted to simplify it a little bit just to kind of get it in our brains. We're talking about form and the overall flow of the space, not necessarily what's happening in those areas. So you can see the yellow areas are dedicated learning zones, i.e. classrooms. The darker green are small group rooms, and then the lighter green is open collaboration. So you can start to see how these 2 different plans operate as far as where the actual classrooms are located and where the open space is, and then how that relates to the levels down below. This is a 3D view, very similar to what we looked at last time, where it was kind of a white box model. This is a 3D view of that focused learning option. So there's that big hole in the middle that goes down to the lower level, and you can see that kind of blue dot in the corner. That's where we're standing on the floor plan there. But we've got this option here, and then our next slide is really showing that same spot, looking and standing in that same spot, what it would look like with that collaborative exchange option. So you can start to see how the different classrooms interact with each other, how that that 2-story space starts to interact from the lower level to the upper level, and you can start to see what those layouts are. Our next slide here just is kind of a recap of both of these. I think if we wanted to maybe pause for a moment and do a little bit of think, pair, share, and just talk at our groups, and then maybe we can start to get some ideas of which direction we're maybe preferring. So yeah, I'm gonna
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
Before you do that, do you guys have an idea of like capacity for students in each of these spaces? Like if we were running a lunch club, how many kids could we bring in?
Yeah, so generally the STEM classrooms are sized for about 30 students.
Okay.
So if we have 4 classrooms, within the classrooms itself could be flex up to 120 students.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And then like the open flexible zone, you can get a lot of
Kind of
students.
max that out. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a target range that you think would be?
No, I just have a lot of ideas, and I want to know how many kids to fit in there, kind of thing.
Yeah. What kind of?
I know, right? Like, what if I were going to assess a whole grade level on NWEA? Let's say, bring your laptops into this space. I'm wondering if I can get 200 kids in there, kind of thing. That's just one random. I'm not saying that, but one random idea, Amber. Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, you probably could. It'd
Yeah.
probably be maybe a little tight.
Maybe a little tight. Okay.
But
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're filling every classroom, all the seats are filled with a butt, and maybe you're maximizing some spaces where the lounge spaces, maybe maximizing, you could probably fit that amount. We could do a study and show.
No, that's fine. I was just curious about.
Well, what would be
interested in that.
I think what would be helpful for us, and then to convey to the facilities committee, if there are activities that like this space would be great to support, like if testing for a whole grade, I think that would be good. Even if it's not fully like thought through. Sure. That's good input for us to be aware of.
I mean, 30 to 120 is great for lunch clubs or anything like that. So cool. Thank you.
Will there be any of the rooms have anything like a folding wall to expand, or can, the rooms to fit a larger group?
That's definitely a possibility, and I think in some of the previous versions we've shown some of those rooms connecting to each other. In these latest versions, we don't necessarily show that door or that wall connecting the two, but that's definitely something that could possibly be between the two
We
spaces.
used to have that here on the second or third floor, Grosse Pointe North, and it would just take two larger classrooms, and it would just, it would just multiply that possibility.
I think when we get later into more of the deep dive of the plans themselves, we could talk through maybe where that would be the most ideal space to put something like that. But for right now, I think if we wanted to do our think, pair, and share about just overall form of which maybe floor plan layout we're thinking, whether it's the focused learning, prioritizes a little bit more of the classroom spaces themselves versus the collaborative exchange where it's maybe a bit more prioritizing of the open collaboration space. Still lots of classroom space, but maybe a bit more open collaboration. All right, we'll give you guys a couple minutes. We were just chatting. Do you guys want to do a little report? Does anybody need to discuss with their table? Let's just do maybe raise of hands. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's just do that kind of a larger group.
I like I'm going to call it immersion light, because it provides not only that like technical aspect with all the boards, but the whiteboard space seems really exciting to me. I can see a language arts teacher going in there. I can see a social studies teacher going in there. It seems like it's more open to a variety of uses versus the more specific igloo space. That makes sense?
Yeah. Okay, seeing some head nods there, having a bit more flexibility.
Like the soul immersion is super cool,
right?
But it's such a niche thing. Like it's not going to be used by everyone or used all the time. Or something more like this can be used every day.
Right.
It's still really cool.
Yeah.
So I feel like the kind of like the rectangle one with like the boards and stuff, it kind of reminds me of just like looking at a smart board in any kind of classroom, but there's 4 different ones. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like also it might just be the way the seating is for me, but like I feel like it'd be the same kind of problem with like blocking each other's view or like just spinning in circles while you're trying to follow your teacher walking around teaching the lesson. Like I don't know, that one just. The whiteboard space I think would be cool, but I feel like that could be somewhere else. I feel like that I'm pretty sure 90% of the classrooms I've been in have whiteboard space, and it's very rare that like any of my teachers would ever use it.
Let me ask you something, Grace. What if your math teacher checked out that room and you walked in like the day before a test and there were 3 different math problems up on 3 different screens, and like you and your group walked around and solved them and tried to figure them out, and a little bit more interactive than just here's your review for the math class kind of thing.
Yeah. Some of my teachers kind of do that thing.
Yeah.
Like Miss Waz would kind of like put up those around
like a walkabout kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like the 3D one is kind of, it's more like you can only do that there.
Yeah.
It's like some of the things for the simplified interactive, like it is possible that we could do that in the classrooms we're already in.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's a really good point. It's very special, for sure.
Yeah, making sure that this is something that's different than just a standard classroom. Making it a resource. Okay.
So we're working towards resolution. Could we do maybe if we had to pick, and we do, like we're here to make this, help get input to make decisions, right?
Mm-hmm. One other thing. I think it was at the last meeting you said you'd actually go over budget with the theater in the round.
I don't know if that's 100% true. I mean, we're still very early, so there's a lot of moving pieces and parts. So I wouldn't sit here and say we're going to go over budget.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
For sure.
Correct.
But that is something we would have to manage from a design.
Yes.
Okay.
Construction standpoint. Yeah.
I mean, I agree. I think the simplified interactive gives you more options versus when the full immersion, yes, it's the niche, it's the cool, wow thing.
Yeah.
But like I said, very niche. I mean, yeah, I would love it, but think about the staff utilization where, she said, like I said, the simplified version is like a standard classroom, but you have more functionality in terms of the use and some possibility of just scaffolding up to even further options.
Yeah.
Especially if the teacher's going to take out and say, I want to use this room on this date. The intentions are going to go in and do something much more different than their normal school day. So I think that simplified, I think is like,
I think user friendly was the word that sounds really
practical.
good.
And so forth. So you have that space, that full immersion too. That just it's like,
It's a very unique classroom that offers a unique experience. But I'm hearing that it sounds like, for the most part, a lot of folks are preferring the simplified version for the flexibility, which would be consistent with what we've been hearing, that these classrooms need to be flexible.
Yes.
So I think that's a fair assessment and input, and we'll take that and move forward with that direction.
I just want to add on one more very specific thing, just because I know how the tech works.
Yeah.
Like when I go down and plug into one screen, my computer would go to that one screen. So I think it would be really cool for teachers if there were a way to get different images on all of the screens when they're working with students in there. And their singular laptop might not do that. So maybe they each have a desktop or something that goes right next to them so that a teacher could log in there. Or I don't know what that would look like, but it could block someone from only using one screen if it's all on our laptops, I think maybe. I don't know enough about the tech for that.
Just like you would. I have dual screens at home. You invert it when you go home, so
Yeah.
you have multiple screens.
Yes.
And then also from your laptop itself. So I would assume
Would
there's
we
some
drag
sort of
over
feature.
multiple screens maybe or
No,
something?
so what it
Okay.
does, it just reads on the computer, and then you would, different tabs, or whatever you're
Yeah.
displaying.
Okay.
And
A
then
lot of-
your mouse.
I would say the big picture input that you're providing.
That's very important.
Yeah.
Yes.
As we continue design into construction, how it operates, I think that's where we can leverage some of that
Great.
tech resource to make sure the staff is properly trained.
Exactly.
So that's great.
I have a different perspective, and I know I'm not a teacher or anything, but I think the thing that attracts me to the immersion one is because it's like it is a wow factor, like Juan said. And I mean, I feel like when we started out talking about the space, we wanted something that was going to be like, the wow factor. And I feel like there's probably a lot of uses for that space that we're not even talking about.
I would like to be the devil's advocate, if I may not even agree with it. But you never get a chance to do this ever again.
Yeah.
This is a one-time deal. The school's never going to pony up money to put in a space like that. That planetarium that's up north, they're never going to spend money to put something like that in again. This is that one time. And, you could take your kids on a tour of Italy in there.
Yeah.
You could explore the pyramids. Giza.
I can just play devil's advocate. I think we can accommodate that with the simplified version. It's just you're not fully immersed. Right?
Well, I'm on the other side anyway, but
it's a really
because of what I do and I put kids in there. But
valid point.
You put a bunch of kids in there with a video game. Oh,
yeah.
Please,
So
mine.
cool.
That would be really awesome.
That's a cool reward for sure. All kinds of things.
Great.
Yeah.
So one more thing is I am not exactly sure that kids would be excited to go to the square one. I still feel like it kind of feels like
More work.
Yes. Well, not that. More
classroom.
standard.
Yeah.
Like I feel like since a lot of the things we are looking at are very flexible, is it possible that like maybe in the robotics room or something, or like I'm not exactly remember about things, like could there not just be a projector on some of those walls? Or like something like that.
You're getting both for us, Grace. Both.
So you like the full immersion?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's.
I mean, this is
I didn't
all
think about that.
this is all input. We'll compile and forward along.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is really helpful discussion. I don't know if we have a consensus still, but
Everybody who talks, we change our mind.
I think
I just got one the other way now.
I'm not saying like full immersion is completely out. We're taking the big picture and having a discussion.
Wonderful.
Like the school board.
Yeah.
And the facilities committee. But are we changing our stance, or are we still saying the simplified interactive more appropriate?
You know what? I haven't changed my heart. I know, because I heard it from a child's
This
student's
is so
perspective.
good. Yeah.
And then he made a valid point.
Yeah.
How often are we going to have this opportunity? Sometimes you got to go for the swing. And we always talk about how we're going to attract more people. And the other thing we had discussed, this is not already a dedicated space where there's going to be a full-time teacher at one time. These are niche things where people will request and utilize. So I'm like, sometimes you do have to think outside the box. And those two perspectives just made me really think about that. And I'm like, wow, I didn't even think about this is a one-time. May not have this opportunity again for who knows when.
Okay.
And then the valid point of that's where she's going to attract the students. She's going to want to go.
Right.
That's about, it's the students. We're adults. We've been there and done that. It's about the students. And that's going to make her want to, I'm sorry.
We still have 3D classes.
We do.
that I wanna
Oh,
yeah.
I know you guys, you're all
Yeah.
set. I want to make sure. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a show of hands, like the full immersion. If you had to pick right now, if you pick full immersion, and do a show of hands.
I don't know. I can't vote.
5, 6, and
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought about like.
Okay.
The capacity.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, jumping into the full plans, and this is just a little bit more detail. So this is a blown up version of the focused learning. So you can see that this is the kind of view that had the hole in the center. It sounds like maybe we're looking more towards the hole over towards the west side. And there's a bunch of sunlight coming in on the table, I'm sorry. But I'm just gonna run through these plans really quickly because we'll do a fly through. But again, we're coming in through these main doors here on that first level. You'd be entering in to see that lower level activated. We've got a STEM classroom and an art classroom and a couple of seating areas up here as well. One thing we wanted to note about this was previously we've been showing a makerspace right here in this center. And last week there was some discussion about whether that makerspace would be used. Are there resources elsewhere in the district or elsewhere in the community that are very similar that we'd already be duplicating these resources? So wanted to talk through, there was maybe a discussion of the need for more storage for this space, especially if it's a shared space where teachers are going to be kind of checking resources in and out. So we did want to show an option here that kind of split the difference a little bit between the storage and the makerspace. So we've got a storage room that's right off of that STEM classroom. It could have high density storage that could slide to really maximize the amount of storage that you'd need, but still keeping a small makerspace in there. If we'd like to make this whole thing one storage room, that's definitely a possibility. That'd be a lot of storage. And it did seem like, would that be where we want the resources to go to? But that was one thing.
Space, that could be 3D printers, laser cutters on the counter, or it could just be another huddle room. So like a small group could go and use that as a breakout space. So it's labeled makerspace, but it's really just another flexible huddle room.
Yep, programmable.
And we would recommend that over a larger storage room from a layout and functionality.
Correct. And then as you go down to the lower level in this plan, you'd walk down those stairs, you'd be entering into that seating and collaboration area, also some access to some huddle rooms off of that open area, and then we're starting to cluster those STEM classrooms, as well as that learning and discovery studio. So right now we're showing the 360 classroom. That could easily be the same square footage as that more simplified version as well. I guess any thoughts on the storage versus makerspace? Another thing we were kind of talking about earlier was maybe a division between 2 rooms and opening that up. I could see that potentially happening on this lower level down here between these 2 rooms, if that's something that we'd want to explore. But I guess wanted to open up for quick comment. We do have one more plan and then the 3Ds.
I think we should go directly.
If we should just go to the next plan, let's do that.
We're saying, we as a group, we're saying this was the preferred opening layout.
Yeah.
So we can have that.
Let's just move straight there. That's a good idea. So explaining these quickly, so as we kind of come in the front doors there, we'd be opening up into that seating and collaboration area with a view down to the bottom level as you're looking to the right. And then we've got our art classroom and a STEM classroom up on that first level, as well as that smaller makerspace and a smaller storage classroom as well. We are flipping the functions of having access to the storage off of the community space or off of the open space rather than the last one. The storage was off of the STEM classroom. So that could be something to consider, whether you'd like to have access to this small room off of the STEM classroom or off of the kind of open area is something to consider. And then as you come down the stairs, you'd be entering into that large open area. We've got a couple of huddle rooms tucked in there, and then we've got an additional STEM classroom with some storage and that learning and discovery studio. And in this version, we are showing that simplified rectangle version. So I know it's always a little bit easier to see in 3D, so I'm just gonna jump to the 3D plans, and that might help with discussion a little bit more. So, and I'm gonna start actually with the one that we all liked. Oh, we've got the YouTube still up. Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on here. Just put that down. Okay. So, as we're kind of coming in those main doors off of the parking lot to the south, the west, I guess. The west. Yes. We'd be coming in and immediately turning right, and that's kind of your entrance into the pool area. These doors here, this is that restroom that we'd be turning in. There's 2 restrooms currently. We'd be turning into one ADA, and that's the elevator right there. Those doors beyond, that kind of gives you access to that shared corridor back to the gym and the rest of the school. So as you're coming in, we'd turn immediately to the right, and this is that collaborative exchange plan. So if you're looking to the left, we've got, this is that door to the storage, or yes, this is the door to the storage classroom. This door is actually an additional exit outside of the space. So for code, having this amount of people in here, we need 2 exits. So this would be an additional exit out through the space. And we do have our art classroom, as well as a STEM classroom. So I'll just kind of fly into these rooms and show you some scale to see what they'd start to look like, or what they could look like.
So I think as we walk out, if you envision on the left, that's a glass wall. If we're talking about like a teacher having a class, that could always potentially be like an overhead door or an operable door. If this group is envisioning like a large class that would flex out into that open lounge space, that's something we could talk through and discuss.
Yeah, if this wanted to fold up and be able to open up out into that space, that could be something we could talk about. So this is the art classroom. You can see a storage room here. We would provide a kiln in there, so that's why the storage room's kind of on the outside. And then just some lounge furniture shown. Then as we go down the stairs, you can really start to see how the space gets activated, how you can really see down into the space. You'd be able to see from this area as well. And as you come down, starting to break up the space into a couple different zones, which could be done through, finishes and carpet to kind of help identify certain areas. So maybe having, a zone here, a classroom of kids could be here learning. And again, furniture is very flexible. I think those conversations will start to happen later. But another classroom could be here as well.
Wouldn't that be good for kind of NWA kind of testing sort of
Oh,
thing?
could be, yeah. Couple huddle rooms on the right as well. And then as we go through, we've got our STEM classroom on the right. So you can start to see what that would look like scale-wise. And then this is that simplified version of that learning and discovery studio. So you could see as we come in, we could really maximize the amount of interactive boards too. You know, if you wanted 2 right next to each other, we could do 2 right next to each other on every wall. I think the extent of where those screens are and the extent of the whiteboard, maybe it's, instead of all whiteboard, maybe it's some tackable surface or some pegboards to store any sort of manipulatives that the class might need. You can start to see what that would look like. So that's the collaborative exchange plan. Does anybody want me to fly to anywhere specific within here? I can also go to the focused learning. Go ahead, Grace.
Can I see what the like huddle rooms look like?
Yeah. Yeah, let's go into one of those huddle rooms. So we don't have any lights turned on in this room, so it's a little dark. But you can see it's a smaller classroom, or a smaller little room, maybe 4 to 6 people. Depending on the furniture, you could have a variety of different functions in here. This one's a little bit more lounge and collaborative versus this one. You know, we could have more of a table and a screen for a small meeting or working on a project together. I'll fly back upstairs and just kind of peek over the edge.
I've been telling Bree, I could imagine, I know in one of the meetings we talked about like soft skills and presentation. I could envision like a student presenting a project in this open space with students kind of on the soft seating and staying over the ledge, and whatever you just worked the week on. Like you take your turn to go in front of the Panther and present your project.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to me, that's a cool vision, and how I would see like something like this in commons being dynamic for the school.
Mm-hmm. I will quickly flip to the other option of our floor plan, just so we can kind of compare. So I'll move back to our front door. So when you come in, you see how that entrance really starts to differ from the last plan, where you're really entering in, you're starting to see that connection immediately. But you're not really entering into a lounge space. The previous one, you're kind of entering into a usable space. This one, you're kind of entering in and seeing more of the whole space and understanding it all. I'll flip around here. So tucking in maybe some booth seating along the side. Showing our art classroom right here. You can see this is that maker space right here, how that could be utilized and how it could be utilized maybe right off of the common access as well, rather than through the STEM room. I can go back to the other one, show that. STEM classroom here. And I'll just pop into that storage room.
So as Bree's walking through, I know we're running up on time.
Yep.
I hope you can bear with us maybe for 5 more minutes to get through. If there's things you're seeing as we're flying around or questions, feel free to ask as we're
The science classrooms, can they have sinks too?
Of course. Of course. Yes.
Is that, as in, sinks would make sense? Or do
Like if you're gonna do like a science.
Yeah, I think you're right. We didn't include any sinks in these classrooms. There definitely should be.
Generally, we include sinks in our STEM classrooms.
Or in a room that you're dedicating to that type of a curriculum. As you come down the steps, entering into that open seating area, you can start to see that curved wall of the 360 classroom and how that would integrate into the space. Got a STEM classroom right here. And then another one kind of tucked underneath the stairs right next to the huddle rooms as well. Thanks, Amber.
Thank you.
here. And then I'll fly through that full immersion 360 classroom as well. So we'll kind of run through. You'd have access to that off to the side here. So this would be entering into that pre-function space. You'd be able to store whatever materials, equipment, props that could be used for whatever training or uses might need to be happening in here. And then as you'd go in, this is kind of what that space would start to look like. As far as scale,
Is shoes off the recommendation of the company? Where'd the story of that come from? That's giving me the heebie-jeebies as well. Like, everyone takes their shoes off to go in here?
I think that's a question that we're going to want to ask for sure. I know it's more important when you have projection on the floor.
Got it.
So when you're projecting onto the floor, any sort of little piece of paper or little thing that dropped on there, it can mess with the projection. So I think that's something that's a little bit more common there, but it's definitely a question to ask of
Thank you.
if the shoes are required. Yes,
As
please.
long as you're here, one of the things that was brought up last meeting was you were going to try to contact some of the schools that actually have this to see if they think it's worth it, if they use it enough to make it worth it, and how the teachers like it, and how the students like it. Did you do that?
Yeah, so actually Dr. Bishop asked us this morning as well. So we're
working in the background to make the connections.
Okay.
And get the information.
Okay.
For that group to make get the right information to make the decision.
Yep.
One last concern from the last meeting about the immersion being added to that list is the durability question of the walls. Certainly.
Yeah. I think how that relates to the shoes for sure would be something that we'd want to ask. Yeah. And the scraping of the walls, the backpacks. Yep. Yep.
Would students in this space be allowed to use the locker room restrooms, or will they? So the nearest girls' restroom is rather far.
Right now, we're anticipating there'd be a single user, so male or female, on this first primary.
Saw that where they come in.
We would anticipate putting 2 additional ones where the existing locker rooms are now.
Okay. Great.
And then those old locker rooms would be walled off. We would suggest to use them for storage because they don't have a function. But we would still need that stair for an exit.
Okay.
One.
Thank you.
We would wall off when you get up to the locker rooms. We're proposing to wall those off so there's no interaction between the stairwell and the locker rooms like there is now.
Okay.
So it's just kind of, regardless of what we do in this space, that's stuff we're doing kind of in the back of house.
Yeah. Good.
So I'll flip back to the previous plan since that was kind of maybe the direction we were starting to walk down. And this puts us right in the center of that 360 room.
I think that Bree pulls this up. My big question would be, when we're talking about flexibility and growing a class, is it more important that 2 classrooms can merge into one? So you go from like 30-person class, 30-person class, and then you have an operable partition that opens, or would it be more beneficial from this group that you have like a classroom that can flex out into this more loungy, flex learning space? Is there a strong opinion one way or the other? That.
Yeah. I wish there were more of us here.
I just say, 'cause we don't know how to use this space, we haven't had the opportunity to be able to utilize it, to know, what best practice is.
Would you, put differently, would you picture 2 teachers coming and like doing a shared lesson in a bigger classroom?
Not currently. I could see 2 teachers coming and doing something separate, but that would not mean we need to open up then.
Yeah. So I think, to me, if I were making decisions, it's if there's 2 teachers coming together, teaching a shared class, having an operable partition between the classrooms would make sense. That you can open it up. If it's a teacher that maybe might be taking students from another class, or if there's like the launch session where you just flex up numbers, being able to flex into this lounge space would make a little more sense.
Probably.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And we can build that.
Yeah.
We can build that flexibility.
Not necessarily classroom to classroom, but open to the collaboration area.
And then I guess that kind of goes back to the comment of if you have 2 classes in at once, like maybe one has
this is how to reserve like the common space, the flexible lounge space is reserved by a teacher to use as a flexible extension of that classroom versus one of the classrooms. If we talk about like that's the Delgado class, so maybe it's just a matter of both classes aren't being used to flex into that lounge zone. Unless that's a priority, we can certainly plan around that. Or maybe it's a first and second floor. Like we could easily accommodate two classes, one on the first, one on the second. That's appropriate.
Right.
Okay. My thought was on this plan with the more open space to the one end, maybe this classroom opens to the open space. Upstairs, the two classrooms merge together. Right.
Okay.
Literally, first floor has one option, second floor has the other option.
Okay.
Is the art class upstairs?
The art class
And
is upstairs.
Is that what would have to merge though?
And that's where it gets a little tricky.
Yeah, that can't merge.
So then it would be a matter of like, we could take that Discovery Learning Studio upstairs, so then the two STEM classrooms can merge together. But we had kind of all agreed that the art classroom made sense on the first floor.
And it does. It does make sense with the screen too.
Yeah.
And then that offers two flexible classrooms
Yeah.
side by side elsewhere. Does the screen have to be upstairs?
It could. It doesn't need to be.
No,
Yeah.
we're talking about the 360.
Yeah.
That it could go upstairs. Yeah, it could be on the first floor.
With the art room. And then two workable classrooms that open up into the common space.
It does seem that it would be more beneficial to keep that 360 room down on the basement level though,
Okay.
just because of
Light.
access to the daylight.
Yeah.
If you want to prioritize having that daylight from that first floor, the basement really is going to be the place that makes the most sense for where you're not trying to get any daylight.
Yep. And then the screen and the art room now are opening up into this beautiful collaborative space. They're not going to open up.
I think we received really good.
Okay, do the magic. Yeah.
What we were planning to do,
We're
not to push us out, but I know we're over time, and I do apologize for running over. I know your time is valuable, and we appreciate it. What we plan to do is put together a package, taking this input and sharing it with this group of like, this is where we're landing with the final input. We can have some bullet points of why we made the decisions we made. But honestly, I think this was one of the better sessions, and hopefully you're excited to see both options that Bree put together. Wherever we land, I mean, this is going to be a dynamic and exciting space for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Bree and I can hang out and answer questions as you leave. But for those that have to leave, we appreciate your time and look forward to sharing the final product here soon.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.